Hey, Millennials. Here's 3 quick tricks to buy your first home and knock that out of the park. If this is your goal, and I'm a Millennial, so I have a lot of friends and colleagues who have been in this mark lately, this is exactly what you want to do to buy your home. And we're seeing more Millennials do this now, essentially like get to the home ownership mark. And then I'm seeing some who are still lingering, or either it's frustration or it's just lack of taking action, or it's not understanding how everything works, how to get it done. Just gonna go for it. Here's 3 quick ones. Hopefully it helps. Number one, and this part is I want to say probably the hardest, but you're going to want to build income. And I'm talking about income, like taxable income that shows on your tax return, that's reportable. And ideally, again, W-2 helps to qualify the most behind the scenes for a loan. So build W-2 income up, which can be negotiating raises yearly with your employer. So new positions internally, just again, negotiate hard, negotiate often. Obviously, you're not going to want to ask for a raise. You're going to want to ask for a raise and show what you can do as well. Or you start to transition every 2 or 3 years into another job that has at least a 10% hop or so in salary, essentially, for you. So you can do that yourself, and again, negotiate or use a recruiter that helps to outsource some of it too, and typically doesn't cost you anything yourself. So just try to get that income up as much as possible. That is going to be the number one thing you can do to help. Side hustles, like again, just if you W-2s are better, but if you can, if you can bartend at night somewhere a couple of nights a week, even that helps. If you can just there's so much you can do on the side here that can help you too. And yeah, it's a grind, and yeah, you may have to give up your weekends or your nights or evenings or whatever for a while, but it's really just like a couple years of tax returns showing high income will get the job done. Obviously, sometimes less. Sometimes we're looking at pay stubs for the last 3 months essentially. So the biggest thing is just get busy, get that income up essentially. Next, you're going to want to come in with as little down as possible, obviously, because if you are in this state where like, how the heck do I buy a house as a Millennial? It seems out of reach. Well, the first part again is that income. The second part is going to be that down payment essentially. And so what we're looking for here is programs that have as little down payment as possible. So that's going to be your FHA loans. That's a 3.5% down roughly for you. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, you're looking at like 10 to 12K roughly down and out of pocket. And then you can probably do the math up from there, obviously. USDA loans are also a pretty neat tool here for any rural areas. And a lot of the country is actually rural. So you can use a USDA loan, 0% down, just your few grand for closing costs and whatnot. And then also any veterans, use those VA loans because those are also 0 down and just some closing costs. They are wonderful tools to use. You should use them. Next is going to be your down payment. So you got all this done. You got your income done. You got pre-qualified or pre-approved with your loan officers. You have your realtor and you're putting in offers essentially on homes. It gets done. Now we're going to close on the thing. So we need the down payment essentially. So if it's a $300,000 house again, we're looking at somewhere around that 12 to 15K ballpark probably for what we're going to need to put down. If you have that in cash, wonderful. It just means that you've automated your savings over the years. And by automating, I mean like have part of your paycheck deposited into a separate bank account that is kind of out of sight, out of mind for you. That helps sometimes with spending, or set up an automatic transfer automatically. Or for myself, my first one, I had automatic contributions into my brokerage account at Fidelity. That helped me to build up some assets there. And that's, again, kind of like, a separate out of sight, out of mind. And for some reason, me, I'm like, I can't spend this because it's in Fidelity. It's invested now, even though it wasn't a retirement account, obviously. It's just a brokerage account. Another way I like to use, and this is pretty much just for first-time homes, I don't really like anyone to do it beyond that, but a 401k loan. So if you have a 401k through your employer, a 401k loan, which means you can borrow up to half the balance, typically in that thing at a pretty reasonable interest rate, which is really just interest to yourself. It's not a bad way to get into your first home and become a homeowner and kind of cross that off your list as well too. Now the loan's repaid through future paychecks. So basically directly out of your paychecks. You won't even see or feel it so much. And downside risk is half of your, whatever amount you borrow, obviously you need, and just take what you need, not more, obviously. That's no longer in the market invested, so it's no longer growing essentially, because it is in the shape of a loan there. But that's a wonderful way to use that loan feature within a 401k versus what you don't want to do is take a withdrawal because you're paying tax and penalty on it, and that's the wrong way to do it. 401k loan's the way to do it. Secondary, you can also just borrow the down payment from friends and or family if you, again, can't figure out a way to do it in any other way, shape, or form. So by this, I mean, like, make it professional. You want to have a promissory note you can whip up, you both sign. If it's 15 grand you need for your down payment, awesome. Set up 15 grand, amortize it out with a calculator over, just Google this. There's plenty of amortization stuff you can do. Set up the terms however you want. It's all customizable, but most personal loans are a 5-year payoff, maybe a 10-year. You can structure this however you want. You can do market interest, you can do lower interest, you can do like 3%, you can do, again, market at like 6-ish. You can do higher if you want. You can do it as a forgivable if it's like your parents who want to accelerate you some inheritance or something. So again, you may not want to ask your parents for this. They may have it anyways. But if you approach them in the form of it's a business, it's a promissory note, we're both going to sign off on, I'm going to make payments with interest for you on it over time. It's it's professional, and you're probably going to get a yes. And then congratulations, you're most likely going to be a homeowner pretty soon after that. So hopefully that's 3 quick-ish steps to help millennials and anyone else in that boat to go ahead and buy that first house and celebrate becoming a homeowner. See you guys later.